If you want to look at someone's likelihood of a 5-year success, look at their calendar, look at what they do day to day, and look at how they schedule themselves.
Masterful Leaders for men building business, family, and self. Hosted by Shimshon Mir Frankel.
Our guest today is Dr. Mitchel Schwindt, a physician and founder who spent over 25 years making split-second life or death decisions in ER trauma bays and flight medicine. After a personal health crisis forced him to rebuild his own operating system, he founded Time Lever, a framework that helps high-performing professionals reclaim 10 to 15 hours per week through AI-powered workflows and automation. Mitchel is an expert in architectural leverage, moving leaders away from the grind and toward systems that reduce cognitive load while increasing output. He joins us to discuss how to eliminate friction, stop reacting to the clock, and start executing with clinical precision. Mitchel, welcome to Masterful Leaders.
Hey, Shimshon, thanks for having me today. Happy to be here.
Great to see you today, and it's an unbelievable pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much.
In the ER, wasted time has life or death consequences. In the context of a high performer's personal life, what are the invisible consequences of failing to automate the repetitive parts of their professional day?
Oh, that is a huge, vast ocean of items, tasks, repetitions, things that I guess I'll just start with things that people do probably unconsciously or subconsciously because they've been doing them so long they don't even realize that they're doing them, and how much time it takes. The common example that I like to cite with my coaching students is when I watch them retype their email or retype their phone number, the same things that they're doing repetitively, just small little tasks that people think are kind of silly. But if you start adding those moments up in time, adding it up over the course of 6 months, a year, 5 years, you realize that you've wasted months of your time. I did a simple study on just 4 things that people probably type at least several times a day. That's email, your name, maybe your website, maybe your phone number, just 4 simple things. And if you can automate those 4 simple things, over the course of the year, the average person is going to get back about 22 hours. So about 3 full working days. So that's just one simple example of automation, and how once you start seeing these small little time leaks in your day, whether it's personal, professional, or both together, you realize how much of your life you are losing to mundane tasks that really should have no claim over your time in that regard.
Mitchel, are you a big proponent for scheduling?
Yes, time blocking, scheduling. One of the things that I think is sort of the cornerstone to reclaiming your time and getting your life back, if you will, is to do your own time audit, to see where you're spending your time on a daily basis. I do it periodically. It can be done using software like Rescue Time on your computer and your phone, or I'm doing it the old analog way. I have just a graph, and every 15 minutes from time I'm awake till the time I go to sleep, I capture what I'm doing, and then I take that and I feed it back into my AI clone to analyze where I'm losing time, where I could be more effective and efficient. And occasionally I'll capture things that really need to be automated and removed myself from my own workflow. So actually, it's funny you bring that up, because I have a coach, and we were talking about this very issue this week, and I said it's probably time that I re-audit myself and see where I'm at. So I have this actually in front of me today that I just started at 6 this morning when I woke up, and so I'm drinking my own Kool-Aid, if you will.
Many people find that AI should be making their work easier, but it isn't. Based on your experience advising companies on AI implementation, what is the single biggest mistake leadership teams make when trying to integrate AI into their existing workflows?
I think one of the issues is looking at the workflow itself without AI, removing it and just looking at it from a process standpoint and making sure that it's not a broken process. I think you can put anything into AI, and AI wants to please you. It wants to agree with you, unless you specifically give it instructions to be contrarian or devil's advocate or out of the box thinking. But if you just take a simple process and put it into AI and say, what do you think of my process? You're probably going to get somewhat of a generic answer that's not necessarily actionable. And so you're spitting out data, and it might seem actionable or seem like it's going to improve on the surface. And when you try to put it in practice, it doesn't work, or it's broken, or the pieces are out of order and it needs revision. So I think starting with looking at the process natively and then asking specific requests from AI, not like make this better, like how do we shave 2 hours off this process? Are there people in the process that don't need to be in the process? Do I have the right people in my organization working on this process? And giving it clear constraints about what you want as the output. I think that is one way to really amplify what you can get out of AI, giving it guardrails, giving it constraints, and instructing it and talking to it like it's your VP of operations, and giving it some context, I think will provide much better output and actionable resources.
So it really does come down to the prompts.
The prompts and understanding various components of the AI model that you're working with, being aware that sometimes it does hallucinate. And my clone structure that I set up, I have specific guardrails that are in all the projects that I have. They're truth guardrails. Like, if you don't know the answer, don't confabulate, don't guess, simply state so. If you have a cited resource that you can verify is real, don't make it up. Share the link. I want to look at it when we're done, so that you can get an output that you can go back and sort of audit yourself for truth and verify it, and then you have the resources of something that can be highly actionable right out of the box, essentially.
Okay, you have completed over 9,500 independent medical evaluations, a process that requires extreme scrutiny and data-driven objectivity. When you apply that same evaluator's eye to a leader's calendar, what are the most common symptoms of time leakage that are usually blind to? And how do you help them diagnose the difference between productive activity and high load friction?
That is a heavy question. I think it's going to come down to maybe industry specific. I guess I'll just look at my own profession as a healthcare consultant and AI builder, essentially. Looking at a person's calendar, number one, seeing what it's filled with. Is it filled with meetings that are 30 minutes long that could be 5 minutes long? Is it filled with coffee meetings to pick brains? Is it filled with unnecessary travel for things that don't necessarily need to require travel? That's just a starting point. I think I don't know who coined this phrase, but if you want to look at someone's likelihood of a 5-year success, look at their calendar, look at what they do day to day, and look at how they schedule themselves. And I think that just having a full calendar doesn't necessarily mean that your output is going to be productive. I think that a person is a whole person. You're not just a business machine from the time you get up until you go to bed. You need oscillation. You need time to recover. You need time to think quietly. You need time to reflect. You need time to engage with your colleagues or your underlings or your employees. You need time for your family. And at the end of the day, you need time for yourself to plan and not only look back at the day, what went well, but look ahead to the following day and make sure that what is on the calendar really should be on the calendar. I think that there are ways to coin an old Tony Robbins phrase. It's net time, no extra time. So there are a lot of things that high-performing professionals do that can be done together. Like, instead of sitting at a meeting, why don't you take your 3 associates and go walk? Go walk outside on the trail. You're out in nature. You're still connecting. You're conducting the business, and you're sort of, getting a little bit of movement, getting a little oscillation, getting some deloading of the body, if you will, and you still accomplish the business outcome. You've got the meeting accomplished. And you probably realize that the hour that you had scheduled for it, it's done in 20 minutes, and then you're back in the office on to the next task, pushing the rock uphill, if you will, on your project or whatever goals you have as a business leader.
And in terms of family, are you encouraging your people to also actually jot them down into their schedule, make special time for?
It's like the business mantra. If it's not tracked and measured, you're not going to be able to change it. And so by scheduling these things into your calendar, they're sort of your non-negotiables, and it sort of makes your significant other feel like they're they're important to you, that you've carved out time on your calendar. I have blocks in my calendar about connecting with my wife, walking my dog, connecting with my kids, things like that. So just a way to sort of jog the memory, like you might be deep in a project or a flow state, but then you see on your calendar at 5 o'clock, I have a hard stop because I've carved out time for my loved ones in my life.
So does everyone in your family have access to this schedule? Are your kids able to, take a peek and see when's Dad going to be around tonight?
We have a shared family calendar through Apple, and then I have separate business and consulting calendars that my kids don't want to see my meetings and the other things I'm working on. But it's a way we can kind of keep tabs on each other. I can see when my daughter's she's volunteering with the Special Olympics this summer, so I can see when she's doing that, and then when we connect, I can ask her how that experience was, or what was challenging, or what was rewarding about it. So it's a way to be, even though we're separated by large distances, it's still a way to be connected on a regular basis.
If you could share a special message to our listeners, what would that message be for them?
I would say that your most precious asset is your time, and I think you need to value that above all when requests are made or meetings are scheduled or things are asked of you. Learning to say no is probably one of the most powerful words in your vocabulary to protect your time and value yourself.
Okay, Mitchell, I didn't write anything down about your story or anything because I wanted to check in with you if you wanted to share anything about your story and your development. And
I'm happy to share. It can get a little bit lengthy. I don't want to make this a TED Talk, but I think it has some context. So the story I'll share is my wife is a dentist. She had her own practice. I was doing emergency medicine. I was doing consulting. I was doing some government subcontract work with the military. I was building digital products. I was doing all these things, and we had built this life that was just on the treadmill, going faster and faster, finding less time for ourselves, less time for our kids, growing frustration and resentment with our careers, with each other, and just reached the breaking point where we knew things had to change and started making the steps to sort of unwind what we had caused ourselves by being on the hedonic treadmill. More things, more boats, more toys, big house, all these things that we thought we needed that we realized we didn't. So we started to unload that. And then I used to do competitive triathlon and Spartan races and things like that. And I had a friend that had a heart attack who looked exteriorly completely healthy, and so I thought I should do a little bit of proactive work myself. I'm a doctor. I should be focused on my own health. And so I ordered a CT scan of my chest, and it came back zero. I had no calcium buildup. My arteries were fine, and they sent me home. But then 2 weeks later, I got a letter in the mail, and I almost didn't open the letter because we were headed out on vacation that day for a couple weeks. But there was this nagging feeling that I should open it. And when I did, I saw highlighted in bold was large thoracic aneurysm, emergent condition, intervention required. And I just felt the pit in my stomach, like, oh, this is this is horrible. I was 45 years old as basically my birthday present to myself to learn that. And we began the journey of getting that figured out, getting that surgically fixed. It's my dead for the day story. I had basically brain was cool till brain death, no activity, heart was stopped, had the surgery, 7-hour surgery, and then it was very difficult to warm me up and wake me up with complications, seizure activity, all sorts of medical things that aren't relevant here. But the takeaway was that we had already started the process, and this was just sort of the push over the edge. And so after the diagnosis, we sold the house, we sold all the toys, we moved into Grandpa's house, unwound a lot of the things that I had been working on, simplified my medical practice. My wife put her dental practice up for sale, and we basically rebooted our lives completely. We moved our kids across the country when they were in high school, and we started fresh on the West Coast. Very simple lifestyle, no treadmill, no accumulation of stuff, toys, none of that. Completely off the hedonic treadmill, and put back top center frame of mind things that were most important: our relationship with each other, our health, our relationship with our kids, having a professional life that was rewarding but also nurturing and not excruciating, if you will. I mean, anybody who works in healthcare will feel the weight and the pressure and the emotional beatdown that occurs over the years. And so that all occurred around 2017, and we haven't looked back since. I think things that sometimes are the most challenging in life are the things that you look back on and you find the most value in. Would I trade it for the world? I don't think so. If I hadn't had this diagnosis and this big scar in my chest, I'd maybe still working in the same role. She'd be working the same role. Maybe we'd be divorced, or kids would hate us. I don't know. But that's all moot point, because we took the leap and got off the treadmill and reinvented ourselves personally and professionally. And so that's made all the difference in our lives.
I love that metaphor, getting off the treadmill.
Yeah, easy to get on and harder to get off. So.
Yeah, so amazing. You put your family first, your closest relationships first. It's a big lesson. Mitchel, I really appreciate you sharing so much today and sharing your wisdom. I think we learned a lot. Is there anything else you'd like to add, share with us?
I heard this phrase on a podcast the other day, and it was, at the end of your life, at the end of the day, nobody's going to look back and say, I wish I'd worked a little more. I wish I'd gone to some more conferences. I wish I'd taken a few more promotions. Nobody says that. They look back on their relationships with their loved ones, their friends, and their family, and those are the things that they have the most regrets on. Maybe relationships they let go that they should have reached out and continued. So I think just valuing the things that are most important in life and having a clear focus on the direction that you're headed, I think that's key.
Thank you for joining us. We couldn't have done this episode of Masterful Leaders without you.
Thanks so much for having me. It was fun. It was a pleasure to be here.
On Masterful Leaders, we believe true success is built across every part of life, not just business. If this episode added value to you, subscribe, share it with someone you care about, and join us next time as we continue building the full package.